Intro music here. What's up, everybody? Andrew Wall here, host and executive producer at Illuvium. And today we've got a fascinating episode of the show as we lead the conversation about the future of gaming, where I promise you're going to gain at least 2 new technology insights or your money back. The metaverse's destiny hangs in the balance right now. Facebook's Meta just dropped their Meta Connect yesterday, and it was mind-bending how far they are in developing their metaverse. People in the crypto space are totally sleeping on this, in my opinion. We're going to talk about the virtues of decentralization versus centralization as the metaverse is being built. Talk about the viability of things like Facebook Meta versus other metaverse plays out there, Sandbox, etc. And a friendly reminder to everybody, everything we talk about today has nothing to do with financial advice. This is maybe a part of your research as you're researching different things in this space, but you need to be a smart human being and realize we're not telling you to buy or sell anything. This is a discussion show about our industry by a bunch of experts who really care, including the largest crypto gaming influencer in Germany, dominating the entire country. I don't know. Sandro, what's up?
Hi, guys. What's up?
Sandro's back by popular demand, giving us a unique perspective. He says his English is terrible. I disagree. I can understand his English. Also on the show, the king of mobile gaming with millions of followers, somebody that I actually followed really closely as I was getting into mobile gaming as an influencer and researching the mobile gaming industry. Now, of course, he's diving into the crypto gaming and NFT gaming industry, the household name of Godson. What's up, amigo?
Hey, what's up? And yeah, this is best time to get into mobile gaming right now, especially with Illuvium Zero and everything. So this is the best thing.
That crossover of that sweet Web3 and mobile gaming, that's where it's at. I agree. Mobile gaming platforms continue to take off. Web3 continues to take off. Why not be at the intersection of that? But you already knew that. You're literally doing that right now. And we also have the go-to source for spreadsheet warriors in the Illuvium community, the man with the numbers plan. We're talking about Scoriox in his, does he still have it on? Yes. Look at this robe. Is that not hot right now?
It's so cold here.
Yeah, it's literally winter. Did you know that there's different seasons on different parts of the planet, everybody? Fascinating. All right.
It's not even winter. I think we're in spring right now.
Oh, you're in spring. I guess because we're in fall, so you're moving into spring. I'm moving into fall. Anyway, it was fun to take a trip there. All right, guys, we have so much to discuss. And really quick, so everybody is on the same page and they understand what happened at the keynote yesterday. Let's just do a quick review of the facts that were dropped at Meta Connect so everybody can kind of understand where we're at in terms of centralized metaverse. Then let's talk about it. Here is the most likable man on the planet, Mark Zuckerberg. And he did a keynote yesterday. Obviously, that's a joke. He's not likable, but his keynote speech showed that just like this man was unstoppable at Web 2, he is hell-bent on making Meta the #1 player in Web 3 and in Metaverse. And I did a summary on Twitter, kind of summarizing all the updates. I'll give you the 1-minute TLDR here, guys, and then we'll get into discussion. You can look more into it later. So basically, here's a mind-bending fact for you. Quest, their platform, has done $1.5 billion in revenue, centralized metaverse, just on apps and games. And they've sold over 15 million VR headsets. Those are like PlayStation and Xbox numbers they're headed toward right now. Pretty nuts. Also, they just launched a ridiculously expensive Meta Quest Pro VR headset that adds mixed reality and eye tracking, focusing on work and gaming. I bought this. I'll see how good it is, and I'll report back to all of you guys. It's basically one of the most premium, if not the most premium VR headset in the world now. Tons of exclusive games and apps. Iron Man, Among Us, not exclusive. They have a non-VR version of Quest, so you can experience their metaverse on mobile, PC, and tablet on rectangles. A new Walking Dead VR game. And they partnered with NBC Universal, so now you have streaming, app access, and Peacock on their platform. But wait, there's more. They're positioning Meta and their hardware as being for work. Now Microsoft has partnered with Meta because they have to, because Microsoft is so far behind in the metaverse. Microsoft Teams, Office, and 365 and Xbox Cloud Gaming are now on Meta. You can do all of that work stuff through your VR headset and through their platform. They partnered with the largest employer in the world, Accenture, who has 150,000 of their staff on a virtual campus on Quest. Let me repeat that. There is an employer in the world that has 150,000 human beings, and they bought 30,000 Oculus headsets for their staff, and they're currently working on a virtual campus in Meta. If you think this is a nothing burger, that's real. It's crazy. You think nobody's in there? A lot of people think like in Meta there's no users. They've got 15 million people with these freaking headsets on, and they've got Zoom that can now go through your stupid VR headset in this metaverse. People are like, I never use it. I don't know. Now they've got products and experiences like AR glasses they've developed with Ray-Ban. They dropped their first pair of Ray-Bans that are augmented reality, and they've got a version 2.0 coming out, and they've massively upgraded their graphics across the board on everything. And anyway, a lot of people laugh at this kind of nonsense of Zuck looking ridiculous in his metaverse, but they're making billions of dollars. They have tens of millions of users. They're partnering with the biggest tech players in the world. It's literally, by far, without question, in every regard, the most successful metaverse there is on planet Earth. Nobody even comes close. That's not me being bullish or liking it. I don't like them. I don't like it. But facts are facts. That's the facts. So let's talk about this, because this is, I think, is it mind-blowing to people? Do they not care? Well, they better start caring, because this is starting to take over the metaverse space, and we have to ask our first question. Is Mark Zuckerberg's vision for the future of the metaverse a boon or a bust for users? Does this sound like a living hell, or does it sound like heaven to you, Sandro?
Yeah, I think it's hard to answer right now, because it's hard to imagine how the metaverse will look like in 10 years from now. And I don't think that the decision from Mark Zuckerberg to change the name from Facebook to Meta is like something what we're going to see in like 2 years. I think it will take a long it will be a long trip since we get a good view on the metaverse, what it is actually. I'm not really impressed by the numbers. I don't have the same enthusiasm than you, Andrew, because I know how big Facebook is and what their main business is, and they sold a lot of hardware. Okay, I also have here this Meta Quest 2 or something, but it's not like I'm using it.
How much dust has it collected? Yeah, how thick is the dust layer on it?
Yeah, I really wanted to try it out myself and try like playing a VR game and something. But for me, I think there are a lot of people who bought the hardware and not using it. Same with the PlayStation 5 and something. We all know that. So it's hard for me to answer right now. I'm a big metaverse believer, but for me, metaverse means or has a different definition. So for me, it's like to owning things, owning digital things like NFTs. This is my explanation for metaverse: to own digital things in a digital world with multiple metaverse projects. But
got it.
If I'm, it's hard to make a statement right now for me about Meta. So I'm not really impressed, but I love what they're doing, because I think the metaverse will be big in the next years.
As a customer of Meta, you're not impressed right now, and you think the numbers are lower than they should be, given that Facebook has 3.5 billion users across all their platforms. You're not impressed that they've sold 15 million. What would be an impressive number then? I'm curious to know. Like, they just launched these headsets. What would be an impressive number of sales?
No, it's not like I'm not impressed by the sales, but I think it's more like FOMO buyers, like in crypto or something. It doesn't mean anything if a project skyrockets for a short time. So I know there are a lot of VR headset buyers just for testing it. It's not like we are all VR fans because we have a VR headset at home. But I really want
That's
to
fair.
test the MetaQuest Pro because I have a problem with motion sickness. This is my biggest problem with VR. I want solution for motion sickness. So, I don't see the daily user. I want to see daily user in AAA projects, and then we can talk about numbers, revenue, and stuff. But right now, I don't know.
You're not feeling it. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So let me thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. So don't mistake my enthusiasm for liking it, by the way. It's just my job to like something as a contrary an opinion to everybody else. Okay, so Godson, you watched the hardware transformation happen from PC and console to mobile gaming. And everybody laughed at mobile gaming. They said nobody would play games on mobile phones. They said mobile phone games. I mean, I'm telling you things you already know, right? These are fake. You shouldn't support these kinds of games. They're predatory. They're terrible. Well, here we are, friends, where the majority of gaming revenue is on mobile now. So I want to ask you about how important the hardware platforms are. As it stands right now, is owning like a hardware platform like the Oculus Quest series more important to control the future of the metaverse, to drive the bus on where the metaverse goes? Or is it more important to control the software side, such as games, layer ones, layer twos, productivity apps? Which side of the bus, if you will, hardware versus software, is more important for determining the future of something like a centralized metaverse? I'd be curious to get your thoughts on that.
Well, actually, I want to go back to the question that you posed before about the Facebook thing. And
Do it.
there's an adoption. I just looked at the study. It's 170% adoption in crypto. So there's a lot of people coming on board, and Facebook is really smart to rebrand and bring in people through the metaverse. I guess we can define that later, but yeah. So I'm hoping Facebook pulls it off. So if they're not against us, then they're for us, right? So if they can bring in more people with adoption into crypto, that's great. With the question of the hardware, I believe that depends on the community. What people find more intriguing. I feel that a lot of companies will do the profit motive. They'll just do their motive, whatever brings in more profit, rather than fun. So if we can create something, and Illuvium's great in doing this, the idea of interoperability, and a lot of things, that they're working on, really innovating stuff. So if they can bring in the community, and the community feels that, this is the direction that we want to go over their, hardware over centralization, then I feel that the community is basically the big tech will follow.
Okay, I like that. But let me do a follow-up with you then. So Apple controls the phones, right? Google controls the phones. And so therefore they control the marketplaces that we interact with for software. And they take a nasty, disgusting 30% fee off of all of those transactions. So arguably, because they control the hardware and the operating system, they have a stranglehold on the software. I mean, in the case of Apple's App Store, they literally approve whether a piece of software goes to most devices in the world or deny you from reaching the market. So how is that not going to be the case in the future? You know what I mean? Like whoever makes the AR platform and the VR platform and the mixed reality platform in the future, don't they have the same level of control that Apple and Google currently have over reaching the billions of gamers out there? Or is it different this time? What are your thoughts on that?
So I'll tell you something even more scary. If you guys saw the news yesterday, Google partnered with Coinbase for their cloud service, right? So they're trying to bring more people into Web3, and they're using, cryptocurrency. They're onboarding people with cryptocurrency and introducing them to the Web3. So yeah, I'm afraid that, the big tech, Google, Apple, whatever, they're going to have a monopoly on everything which is, what they do. I think Google is a little more lenient with their Google Play, but Apple app stores are pretty harsh. So we can already see, today how they're blocking certain people or certain companies from getting onto their app store. And I'm worried about that. So it really is just like the first mover's advantage. If, DAOs or whatever can get in there and set the standard, then I believe big tech or these companies will have to follow their direction.
Cool. I like your perspective. Yeah, centralization on top of centralization with Coinbase plus Google. Obviously, for all you libertarians and decentralized people out there, that's kind of scary. So let me go to that question with Scoriox here. With the beautiful looking robe, I know it's powering your answer. Is it truly a metaverse if it's hosted on centralized servers by megacorps? Like if it's going to be hosted partially on Amazon and Google and Apple and Facebook stuff, is it metaverse at that point? Is that what we mean by metaverse? Or does it become something else at that point? What are your thoughts on that? I guess what I'm trying to say is the idea of metaverse tied to decentralization? Or can metaverse mean centralization as well? What are your thoughts on that?
I think the big thing with the metaverse is getting people in there. The problem you have with a centralized platform is that I forgot what I was going to say. It's just I think it's still a metaverse, right? But the problem is, the biggest issue with centralization in this aspect is actually privacy. I don't think it's really how powerful it is or how many people are going to get on board and how many problems they might have. I think privacy is the biggest concern here. They may need to give up all of those privacy concerns to be a part of something that they might not have any choice being a part of. Like in that keynote, the biggest thing I noticed was actually the collaborative workplace stuff. That was crazy. Just being able to be in the same room as people that you work with and being able to do your work with them is especially crazy since the pandemic or since that event in 2020. We've had this huge paradigm shift to working on your own terms and working from home. And I didn't realize this to begin with, but Facebook hasn't clocked into this whole gaming thing. Facebook has clocked in to working from home and working on your own terms. So giving up, a lot of people already gave up their privacy going to Facebook, and the ability for Facebook to now decide, or Meta to decide, that you give up your privacy going to the metaverse is a bit scary. But at the same time, I think someone has to build it, and you need someone with a lot of money. That's just the fact there. You could build a metaverse in a decentralized way, but I'd argue it takes 3 times as long. But maybe there is a path where you can have a centralized version to begin with and then decentralize afterwards. So that's definitely a path there. I think a decentralized metaverse would be nicer, but I definitely think they're both metaverses.
Really? That's crazy. So I understand the decentralized would be nicer, but help me understand that one. The trend I've seen with technology, from every technology there is, from humans going from agrarian societies to cities, to better transport and electricity systems, consolidating people in one location, on one grid, and one system, to the internet consolidating, print media consolidating, social media consolidating. Everything consolidates into governments, countries, tribes. Like humans consolidate things. That's what we do. The more powerful entity gloms together in a centralized, like we centralize naturally across everything. So how is it that the metaverse could be centralized at first and then decentralized after that? Wouldn't that be counter to literally every other example of technology ever?
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking more of like a hybrid, but I'm feeling that it starts off centralized to get things just built and done, but monopolization does breed competition where people want to step in and try and take some of that market share. Whether they're successful or not is anyone's guess. But even I see crypto in a similar light, right? So you had financial systems and things, and people have started to agree that the centralization in them doesn't quite work, and it has definitely sped up the process of people trying to create decentralized currency. That's kind of what I'm thinking about here. But I definitely think a hybrid system is a lot more likely. But if you could say it would be the first example if Bitcoin truly does decentralized financial infrastructure.
Got it. So, okay, yeah. So maybe this would be an example metaverse that we start with and we go, rut-row, we don't like that for all of the centralization reasons. Then we go decentralized after that as a counter movement to improve upon the things that are inherently bad about it. I can see that. Okay, before we go into our next topic, I have to remind everybody, there's an audio version of IlluviTalks. It's on every platform. So if you like listening to audio podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, every freaking platform, just search for Illuvium, subscribe there, and there's a edited kind of clean version of these podcasts of IlluviTalks and Illuvium Insider that you can listen to. In fact, right after this episode, I'm going to upload 4 edited episodes right after this, and it's going to drop on every platform. So listen to the audio version if you're on the car on the go. You want a cleaner ums and ahs cut out version. Cool. Let's move into our next topic. The thing everybody who's watching this actually likes, which is a decentralized metaverse vision. So let's talk about what that looks like and maybe some of the attempts that are out there at making something like this happen. And so that would, of course, include things like Illuvium, of course, decentralization with its own exchange and with its own marketplace, its own games, its own token, and it's decentralized in terms of governance. This is arguably the most premium game in this space, as an example. Then we can look at existing metaverses, quote unquote, out there that exist right now that are going for more of the 3D immersive world and space type of concept. And Sandbox is one of the leading examples of that. And as you can see, tons of brands have jumped on board. Tons of money have been pumped into these ecosystems, and there has been some adoption and some notoriety. So you can argue this is one of the leading, if not the leading, 3D immersive version of a metaverse. So we've had an example of a game, an example of the 3D immersive, and then we've also seen attempts to make, let's say, metaverse Web3 hardware happen with something like the Solana mobile phone, which attempts to bring crypto to your phone, NFTs to your phone, dudes holding phones on stages, etc. And it's attempting to do a sort of more decentralized, if you will, hardware play in this space. So it's not like people in the decentralized space that we're operating in have been sleeping on all of this. There are attempts on the 3D immersive world, on the gaming, and on the hardware side to make progress. So let's talk about that. Is the decentralized vision for the metaverse a boon or a bust for users? And let's talk about, is there a better vision than what Illuvium's bringing to the table, Sandbox is bringing to the table, Solana's bringing to the table? And is there any merit to what Facebook is doing that we should be taking into account for the decentralized side? I'd like to bring that to Godson first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I think it depends on the adoption, the direction that the community goes. I really appreciate that, they're making a lot of innovation and devices for people to get into. I think the first time that I was introduced into the metaverse, I saw I don't know if anyone else saw this commercial, but it was the Meta commercial where they had the Breakfast Club song with the parody of that Chuck E. Cheese character. Mm-hmm. And I teared up when I saw that. And then I read the comments. And everyone accused Mark Zuckerberg of putting them inside the matrix. So I understand there's a stigma behind the metaverse. The metaverse. Look, I'll play devil's advocate here. The metaverse, just the definition of it is an online lobby. You just have to have a representation of yourself digitally. So I think Illuvium's doing more innovative things by making it interoperable. They're making a universe where their games are connecting to each other rather than just a game lobby where everyone meets up. So you guys might hate me on that, but I've just listened to the critics, and there's lots of critics that are outside of crypto, whether it's critics of NFTs or metaverses. So I think innovation is the key here. So again, like I mentioned, it just depends on the adoption and where things go from there.
That makes sense to me. And I tweeted this recently. I'd be curious to know if this is what you mean. But I put this, no one liked aimlessly wandering around 3D worlds in Web 2. So why do all these metaverses think people will want to do this in Web 3? And so a lot of the metaverse plays are, we've got to have a 3D immersive world. We've got to have a 3D space. We've got to get people together with an avatar. And I'm wondering, like, how come nobody liked that before? Why are they going to like that now? And I know that Facebook is doubling down on that idea with these workspaces, with Horizon Worlds, and with their immersive experiences. But all of the examples I can think of from Web 2 and Web 1 of 3D immersive world failed for the most part. Now, there are some examples like Minecraft and Roblox where you have a shared world. But the reason why those shared worlds succeeded is because it was a game and there was something interesting to do. And it was highly engaging for the game reason. But most of the metaverse plays I'm seeing are buy land, then come to the land, and then you figure it out. So I don't know. Do you feel like that's a failed model? Do you need to have something compelling for people to do once they arrive? Or is it build them and then they'll come and question mark profit? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So, I mean, what they've done, with the augments and with the VRs and everything, this is not the first time we've been introduced into these, these hardware products. The first time I've ever seen it was when Nintendo did it with Virtual Boy. So there's technology there, of course, that's innovative, but it really just depends on the community. I would hope that this is the thing. I would hope that we get something more in line to like how Ready Player One did it. Like if you just ever watch that movie, it seems like there's a lot of gaming products or a lot of gaming entities that are converging into a metaverse. I would hope something like that. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but that would be something awesome that I feel could bring a lot of people into the adoption of crypto. So those are just my thoughts, but I just think that that could be a potential possibility.
Makes sense. So everybody always thinks that Ready Player One, that 3D immersive world experience for a proper metaverse. So Scoriox, is that 3D immersive world required for it to be a proper metaverse? Is that a baseline requirement? Because everybody loved Ready Player One, so I guess this movie set the standard for what metaverse is now, right? Do you agree or disagree with that?
I think we've always had a serious cost problem when it comes to VR headsets and things like that. That is the number one concern, where people are like, oh, I can't get it, it's expensive. And now some of them are on par with consoles. Consoles seem to come up in price and meet them, which was really interesting. But it's still a lot for most people. I think a majority of the population can't afford to really get a VR headset or anything. So how is a metaverse going to be built on VR? You know what I mean? But everyone can afford a mobile phone because they need it for so much other things. But if VR becomes this thing that you need for everything in your daily life, then I think that could be possible. But I definitely don't think it's necessary. I think.
What are your thoughts on? Let me pause you there. So VR. So what Facebook's doing and a lot of the other players are doing is not only is it VR, but now the most premium headsets are now mixed reality. So you get real life plus the VR. Then that tech is going to be put into the glasses you can wear out in real life, AR. So do you think that glasses, like Ray-Ban glasses, let's say version 10, could replace the mobile phone in that it does all that other crap you need it to do, plus it does gaming? Do you think that that's a possibility in the future?
I still think you will need your mobile phone as well. So no, I don't see that as a future. Why I say that is because you can't fit all your UIs and things into Ray-Bans. Maybe you can touch screens and stuff in front of you, but I don't think many are going to be a big fan of that, as I don't think that's going to be intuitive for most people, is what I'm saying. I think the mobile phone works really well because it's small, compact, you can hold it in your pocket and stuff, so it's out of the way. And then when you need to take it out, it's really intuitive and really easy to do whatever you need to do. Install all your apps, do all that sort of stuff, set everything up. I don't think that's going to be so simple with something on your head. I think a combination of the two connecting to each other is going to make that a lot simpler. But given that I expect that to be the case, Ray-Bans and the phone is going to be a cost that is potentially way above many people's risk tolerance in terms of they have a lot of other things that they need to spend their money on. Just putting it that simply.
I like that perspective, but I will remind you that the argument you're making about people have the existing thing today, why would they use the thing in the future, is what people said about phone booths and beepers and that classic clip with Bill Gates and David Letterman, where Bill Gates says, in the future, you'll be able to listen to a replay of a baseball game on your computer. And Dave Letterman looks at the audience and goes, yeah, but isn't that what a tape recorder is for? Ha 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 ha, laughed everyone. So anyway.
I definitely think that the Ray-Bans and mixed reality and everything is going to take off in that way, but I just think it's a lot further away than you think to actually adopt people into that. I think it's a lot further away, or it's going to look a bit different to the way we're seeing it right now to make it more intuitive for people. I definitely think it's going to happen eventually, but I think it's so unintuitive that it's going to take longer than you might expect.
That's fair. Sandro, I got to know what you think then. Will the metaverse ever be truly decentralized if it needs to be experienced on things like mass manufactured hardware platforms and devices? So the software side and the financial side can be more decentralized, but we got to play it on mass manufactured gear that, made in China by a megacorp, made in China by a megacorp, made in China by a megacorp. Everything in my studio is made in China by a megacorp. So if I have to do the metaverse on all of this, is it decentralized when literally everything I'm using is made in China by a megacorp? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think decentralization is wishful thinking. I don't want to be a boomer, but I remember when I started with crypto, I was a big fan of decentralization and blockchain. But at the end, everything is centralized, everything. Because every project have to follow rules from every government, So I didn't use the word decentralized metaverse anymore. I believe in DAOs like Illuvium, but for me, every metaverse will be centralized for sure. So decentralization isn't a point for me.
I'm going to totally agree with you. I think because history tells us
there will be no metaverse where the government would say, now it's forbidden to be in this place, and there isn't a way to shut it down. Because at the end, also every game, I'm not sure, like, if every Web3 game studio will run an own node network, but I think most games will also be hosted on classical Web2 servers.
Illuvium being that case, right? Illuvium may have decentralized elements, but those element like governance and like the token and ownership, but we got to be on servers to host the game, right? We're on social media centralized platforms right now for communications, blah blah blah.
And we also saw it some days ago with the big BSC bridge hack. Like, what was it, 500 or 600 million got hacked in a bridge exploit on the BSC chain. And the good part is that that Binance is centralized and they were able to shut down the chain. So I don't think that decentralization is necessary for a good metaverse, but I'm a huge fan of DAOs, because that's why I started investing in Illuvium 1 year ago. And bought land and everything and dollar cost averaging like every week and getting these juicy ILV tokens. But I don't believe that decentralization is a big point. I think this is wishful thinking, because you also can get your USDC, USDT frozen with like only a second. We saw it with a Tornado Cash. Like every wallet which interacted with Tornado Cash wasn't able to send the stable coins anymore. So I think decentralization is wishful thinking. So I'm with you when we talk about like the marketplaces and microtransactions and Meta at the moment got the biggest market share and stuff. But this is only the revenue side. So it's also in Web 2, we have the big players in the online marketplaces like Amazon, eBay. They are also only going for these transactions on their marketplaces. So that's why they're getting the money. So the big tech and big companies are going for the microtransactions for sure. But I think DAOs are a good thing, and that economy will be by the community. And I think this will be the future of gaming. But it's hard for me to say or to talk about hardware adoption right now, because I don't get Mark Zuckerberg for like getting companies to work in the metaverse. I see some use cases where I think, okay, this is good, but I don't see like my mother is working in an office, and I don't see her with the VR glasses on. I don't see the case, because when she's working from home, they have like this Zoom meetings. Why should they meet up in the metaverse? And why should she buy some clothes? I don't see the adoption there, because we have this great technology with computers, and everything is amazing,
Yeah.
So I think the biggest the game changer will be like the VR headsets, when there isn't motion sickness anymore, when you put the glasses on and you don't want to take them off. Like back then, I don't know who of you played World of Warcraft, but I was addicted for like 15 years.
Everyone did.
Yeah, and I only wanted to play fucking WoW every single moment of my life, So school was out, and I was running home, and I want to get on my computer and start playing WoW. And I identified with my characters, So, and we need this feeling for the hardware, for the VR parts and stuff. So I think this is very hard to talk right now about mass adoption, because I think the normal user right now is more like, no, I got my computer and this is fine, and it's much, much better than the VR headset. And this would also be one question maybe for you, Andrew. What do you think if you have to choose one device?
Okay.
Would you take the computer? Or would you take the VR headset?
Why not both?
Yeah, so now the computer is better right now.
Okay.
Just like if I was a 1990s guy and we were going into the transition into Web 1 and Web 2, and you asked me, would you rather have a phone booth available for you on every corner to make a call with for 25 cents, or would you rather have this monster cell phone that's like 70 pounds and costs $6,000? You'd be like, which one would you rather make a phone call on? Okay. I'd say the phone booth, obviously. But it's because we were so early in that technology. Eventually, it became a little rectangle I can carry around and is literally can give me the knowledge of the entire human race forever on a device, right? So the point of that is the function of the phone to what the phone became decades later is unbelievable. And so for me, asking would I rather use a VR headset today versus a normal computer, the answer is, of course, I don't want to use the $7,000, 70-pound cell phone. But I know that cell phone is going to replace my normal computer in the future. Like, that seems pretty much guaranteed, in my opinion. So today I'm willing to test out the 70-pound cell phone just to understand the technology, knowing that it is going to dematerialize everything in my studio. I think 10 years from now, I won't need any of this equipment that I have here, and I can literally throw it in the garbage. I think I'll just be able to put on a VR headset. I'll have 5 screens in front of me. I can go whoop, whoop, whoop. I won't need a microphone or separate headphones. I'll just boop. I'll put on a $1,500 headset, and it will literally do everything we all need gear for in our studios right now in one device, similar to how this device right here dematerialized everything from beepers to big cell phones, to phone booths, to books, to maps, to everything, right? So this dematerialized all those things. VR headsets are going to dematerialize all these things that I have in front of me. But today, these things are better. 10 years from now, the VR headset's probably superior. That's my opinion.
That's we are on the same side. That's what I said in the beginning from our conversation. So I also think like in 10 years, this is going to be much more interesting than it is right now. But we're talking about adoption. And I don't think we can talk right now about adoption, because also computers improves. It's not like PCs stopped getting better. So also in 5 years, there will also be much better PCs and classical devices. So
maybe you're right. So basically, Sandro hates DeFi and loves centralization. That's what we can conclude. And speaking of which, I got to move us to the next topic. I know I'm messing with you.
Let me finish. Wait.
Okay.
What do you think about gaming? So it's not like I'm a big fan of centralization. I'm just saying the topic is very hard right now. So do you think DAO like Illuvium, a game like Illuvium, can change the gaming industry in the next 3 years?
Yes. So the gaming and that's actually our next topic of debate. I'm going to go to that. Who's going to win, centralization versus decentralization? And I want to go into that topic. But first, you mentioned how centralization is better. We already know that's your position. But I disagree, because it is my job to play this video about our decentralized marketplace, Illuvidex V2. Check it out.
Illuvium Game Studio is developing a game that combines an exploration looter with a collectible autobattler, where gamers can play and own rewards. We are excited to introduce version 2 of the Illuvidex, our official Illuvium market exchange. It features intuitive analytics, enhanced navigation, improved maps, and additional functionality.
The voiceover on that video, so good. So the question you brought up a moment ago, which leads us to our next part about centralization versus decentralization. Can something like Illuvium actually make an impact? Can a decentralized game studio actually make an impact and change the gaming industry moving forward? In order to answer this question, I want to just set the stage here with some facts. I like to go facts, and I like to teach people things with facts before we all share our opinions. And so the fact of the matter is, right now, in terms of market adoption, the top game, and the source here is DApp Radar, and I went ahead and searched by active users and what have you on each of these games and the top games out there. And long story short, in the past 24 hours, if we want to look at daily active users, the top games in DeFi right now have a maximum of 200,000 to 100,000 users per day, tens of thousands, moving up to like 100,000 peak within the last 24 hours. Looking at games like Alien Worlds, you know the top titles, Splinterlands, etc., right? And they have varying amounts of users that are coming in. The reason why I'm sharing that is to compare that to the peak player base on the top games in Web 2. And if you look at Roblox, their peak users was things like 4 million. Crossfire, 8 million. This is this year, by the way. League of Legends, 8 million. This is concurrent players. Fortnite, 12 million. So right now, the decentralized gaming space is so far away from the centralized gaming space in terms of adoption. Decentralized gaming needs like a 50x in order to catch up, even with just one game. So that's how far away we are from being able to change the gaming industry. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is if you don't have the players, if you don't have the adoption, then no matter how good your idea is, you're not actually changing the industry. You need to change where the attention is, you need to change where the users are, and you need to change where the revenue is flowing. Then your ideas actually succeed. So in my opinion, and I've said this a bunch of times, and I'll share this with you, is I think that we need a new change to the business model of gaming. And we're attempting to do that at Illuvium with the interoperable blockchain game. Just like we saw with free-to-play, just like we saw with mobile games, just like we saw with subscription model and battle pass, and the games I literally just showed you on the screen. These games, Fortnite got huge because of the new battle pass model it implemented, and it was at the right place at the right time with the right genre. League of Legends became gigantic because it had the free-to-play business model. Right place, right time. Roblox, et cetera, et cetera. All of these games came in with a new game genre and a new business model, and they changed their microtransactions with Counter-Strike Go, et cetera. All the major games have the same pattern. New hardware shift, new culture shift, new technology, plus new business model equals mega success. So can Illuvium be that? Maybe. Illuvium is the only one I'm seeing in decentralized gaming that's even attempting to do something truly innovative on both the business model side and the game side with interoperable blockchain games and with concepts like revenue distribution, fair launch, etc. That's at least a different idea than what other people are doing in DeFi. Most game studios in DeFi are literally just copy pasting some business model or some idea from Web 2 and saying that on the blockchain. They're not actually doing anything new and innovative from a gaming design standpoint and a business model standpoint. So will Illuvium be that big League of Legends success or World of Warcraft success? It at least is attempting to do the formula that creates a big success. Whereas no other players I've seen out there have even tried or have even announced that they will be trying in the future to follow that formula. Game design innovation plus new business model. So that's the best answer I can give you to that question. So can decentralized games catch up with centralized games in terms of player counts when we're 50x behind, Scoriox? You're the spreadsheet guy. Do these numbers add up?
Yeah, I definitely think it can catch up. I think as you already said, it just needs to be a compelling game, and doing something new definitely makes a big difference. You could see that in all those previous games. You talked about Fortnite and the new business model, but the other thing they implemented was a lot of the building and construction, which Minecraft and Roblox had kind of cornered, but Battle Royale was the trending topic, and so they combined the two, and they managed to attract a really large audience. So I think innovation is key here. I think Illuvium's touched onto a few genres that are in a bit of a need of a facelift, to put it simply. Pokemon has obviously lost touch with some of their OG or their older fans, and autobattlers have lost touch a little bit with the competitive side. And I think Illuvium is capturing both of them really well, and then adding a lot of innovation on top of that. And I think you're right. I think innovation is the key here. If you make something truly new, and then it's compelling when people start to play it, then it has the ability to grow to those levels. In terms of people being afraid of blockchain, I think we might have to wait a while for it to grow to those levels. But if blockchain in itself or crypto in itself became more normalized over the next 5 to 10 years, then I don't see why games implementing blockchain couldn't get to these same numbers, if not higher.
Okay, got it. Well, that leads me to my next question then. So the biggest gaming franchises that I just showed on the screen. Imagine a world, and I'm going to kick this over to you, Godson. Imagine a world where Apex Legends comes over to Web3, dropping NFTs on people. PUBG comes over to Web3. I don't know, there's a PUBG token. Dota 2 comes over to Web3. You can finally own your skins in your digital wallet. Counter-Strike Go, Lost Ark, Minecraft, Roblox, all these big titles, all these big studios, they just start piling into Web3. Wow, how amazing is that? So when the biggest gaming franchises migrate to Web3, will they choose a decentralized model and decentralized platform? Or will they choose a centralized platform when they come on over? What are your thoughts on that, Godson?
Yeah, so I think this just goes back to my point of just doing what the community standards are. Like whatever the direction that the community goes is pretty much is what's going to set the standard. Now, Illuvium actually has the first movers advantage of this, like where they can set the standards and they can pioneer a lot of stuff that perhaps other gaming industries will adapt. And I've seen this multiple times with Clash of Clans, the game I predominantly play. A lot of models that you see today are adapting their structure of what they've created, and I'm hoping that they'll do that with Illuvium. But the thing with the market right now, or with gaming in general, is just a quality over quantity aspect. I feel that a lot of games that don't have that quality aspect in them, it's just like, I don't know. I was looking at ads today, and when you're browsing YouTube, or when you're browsing, ads, you'll see a game that pops up that's kind of clickbaity, kind of catchy. And then when you play the game, there's actually a game within a game, that's more of what they intended you to play, but they're just trying to bring you in with their initial looking game that they have. So it's just weird the way that
what you're talking about with mobile games in particular. A lot of the ads they'll show you will be like this amazing 3D looking thing, and then you play the game and it's like some dog shit 2D game. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. But the thing about the stats that you gave there is, like, if you look at Axie Infinity, I think they have $1 billion market cap. Not sure how many people they have playing on a daily basis, but I consider Axie Infinity like a lower quality game. Like, it's cool, it looks cool, but it's not really in depth. So I've heard talks of GTA.
Well, we can take poll. I like facts. I like to do facts on the show. So Axie Infinity, according to DAP Radar, in the past 24 hours, had 20,000 users interacting with it on the blockchain. And then if we're going to give it a 30-day number, which it's populating right now, Axie Infinity had 226,000 people interacting with it on the blockchain over the past 30 days. So according to this, there's a game with a close to $1 billion market cap that only has 226,000 monthly active users.
Yeah. So look, this is the thing. Like the statistics I gave earlier about the adoption into crypto, there's over I believe over a year or two, it's about 170% of people coming in to crypto. So my hope is that with enough saturation of these protocols of a new coin, or a V launchpad or something, it'll be oversaturated so that we're going to have to move into, what's the next big thing? It's going to be gaming. This is what I'm hoping. Like, I hope that everyone's going to jump onto GameFi and to gaming and crypto. That's going to be the next thing, that everyone's trying to build their own game, and that's the direction. So there'll be even more mass adoption coming in through crypto. So like I said, with big companies like GTA trying to get into, I believe is what I read, they're getting into the metaverse, or it's in crypto. I can see them helping along with the adoption of crypto.
Captain Centralization over here, Sandro. What are your thoughts on this topic? When the big game franchises come in and you're saying, I want them to be centralized so badly, do you think they'll do what you want, Sandro? And be centralized or decentralized?
Don't be so mean to me, man.
Boomer. No, it's fun for me to do this because I'm the one, because I tell people about what's happening in meta. Everybody thinks I'm like a meta bull, and I think Zuckerberg is my best friend. Anyway, but the question stands though. Will these legacy gaming players, when they eventually come in, are they going to go want to be on like a meta platform, whether it's meta or not? Or are they going to say, you know what, we're going to be DeFi all the way, baby. We now believe in the virtues of decentralization, even though we're completely centralized, and suddenly we're totally different. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think that it really matters to a gamer. So if we are talking about how to adopt the Web 2 gamers, the normal gamer, I don't think the gamer gives a shit about decentralization or centralization. So if Illuvium only got one marketplace, it's cool. If it got like 5 different marketplaces where you can sell and buy the NFTs, it's also okay. But at the end, if you want to adopt the millions of players, it should feel like a normal game, like a normal download browser or Epic game store listing, and it should be easy to buy something. It's. I think that's why I love Illuvium so much at the moment.
I also love it
because it's there's no. I'm talking about a lot of gaming projects, and it's not like I'm only investing in Illuvium. But what you guys are doing is completely different from any other gaming project out there. So if I think what you really need for the next big step is a game where everyone wants to play it without an earning factor. Like if some gamer just is on Twitch and see, oh, what's that Illuvium stream? I never heard about it, and he sees it and feels like, hey, I want to play it. And this is the big next step into adoption, because right now there is no single game a normal gamer would play. Because if you go to your 9-to-5 job is finished, you go home and want to play something with your friends. Why should you play Axie Infinity? Please give me 3 reasons why a normal gamer would play Axie Infinity right now.
I mean, there other than, I mean, there are 3 reasons would be make money, make money, make money.
Yeah,
I mean, all the
make money.
Axie players I've talked to have told me the reason why they got into it and they made a guild.
Yeah.
They won't say this publicly. They won't say it publicly because they want to be a part of the community or whatever. Yeah. But they told me they just got into it to make money. They hired people to be a part of their guild, and they took on investors to make money. And then when the game gets into a phase where you can't make money, they tell me honestly, this is why I'm on a call with you right now, Andrew, is because I hate that game and I want to play a game that's fun. So that's the reason people who are Axie hardcores have told me they were hardcore. I haven't seen anyone that says, you know what, I just love the gameplay. God, guys, I just love it. I've never seen anyone say that. Maybe there are people out there that have said that, but I haven't seen one.
No, but they're much better Web 2 games. Why should you play them? It's same with if you now build a Fortnite with your team. And it's just a copy from Fortnite with NFTs. Why should someone play it? We have Fortnite.
Right. Fortnite is better.
It's just the earning factor. Right. And Illuvium building some different stuff. And I think once we get the complete feeling like, hey, we are in an overworld, we have nothing. We have some shards maybe in our bags from Illuvium 0, and let's go. We're going to get this Illuvials. And then we catch our first Illuvial, and then we get our next one, and next one, and next one. And Kieran is talking about it will take like months to get every single Illuvial out there. And I think once people understand that when you catch an Illuvial, that you can use this NFT also in a different game, because Illuvium won't stop once we have the overworld and Illuvium 0. Let's see where Illuvium could be in 5 years. And this is my personal opinion. It's not like I'm a fanboy since the first second I heard about Illuvium, and now I'm 1 year into crypto. I got a much better understanding about tokenomics, NFTs, and if you look at the market cap from the Metaverse projects right now, it's totally bullshit. It makes no sense. It makes no sense that a Decentralized, a Sandbox, and Axie Infinity are sitting on 1 to 2 billion market cap right now. It makes no sense if you see what some game studios are building right now. So I think the part with innovation was a very good point from you guys, and Illuvium at the moment I think is the only Web3 gaming project with something new, because every other project there is an existing Web2 game out there, and if just listen to Kieran and the attitude, you will see and hear it. There's a bigger vision. And that's why, you should take a closer look to the Illuvium ecosystem.
People watching on Illuvium's Twitter right now probably agree with you. Final question, Scoriox, this one's for you. Is there a world where both metaverse centralization and decentralization coexist and they're of equal size, and you say, you know what, let's just get along? We're bros, right? You don't like governments or centralized money or publicly traded companies on the decentralized side. We, on the centralized side, love centralization control. You know what? We're of equal size and we're just going to all get along and it's going to be great. Do you see that being realistic?
I think I do. I definitely see one vision in particular. I think the big thing that in decentralization is speed. Sorry. There's two...
You need a minute?
Yeah, home.
It's okay.
This. Jeez.
Let's give this man a minute. So the reason why I asked this is, in the past, the point we made earlier is that centralization usually wins out over the longer term. Maybe there's a turning point right now with technology because blockchain and hashing allow for trustless interactions on the internet. And maybe that technological shift makes DeFi and makes decentralization technologically possible. And it's a turning point for humanity, possibly, because of this technology. Maybe. So let's go back to Scoriox. What are your thoughts on that? Is there a world where decentralization and centralization in the metaverse exist? We're all getting along. We're all interoperable. I mean, this is what Zuck said on his keynote. He's like, I'm all about interoperability. Come on in. I'll only take 50%.
Oh my gosh.
So what do you think, buddy?
I definitely see decentralization's biggest strength is in speed and building unique things separately, right? If you have one major creative lead or a handful of them at the head of a large company, then there's really only so much you can do because you have one person's brain and one person's vision working on it. Sure, you might have other people that can put their input and things like that, but I've been in a company long enough to know that that's not always super, super reliable in comparison to hundreds, or if not thousands, of different gaming companies all building their own thing. And I definitely think that that's going to help diversify the genres in games that get involved. And I think we are going to look at a bit like a Google Play Store kind of scenario in the future, where you have your big centralized company that is able to amass a large vision and onboard everyone into a centralized hub. And then they're going to use that hub to diversify into different worlds and platforms and companies and things like that. The only issue there is that they're going to take a cut, maybe 5 to 10%, hopefully not higher than that. If you want to go through their hub to get to Illuvium, it's going to cost Illuvium a little bit to do that. But Illuvium itself is decentralized. So I'm hoping that that's the hybrid we see. And I think decentralization allows us to build lots of different things, lots of unique things. And without that, centralization, I don't think will survive in this space in particular, because attention spans are declining over time. And unless you can broaden the scope of what people are building, it's just going to fall apart.
I like that idea. Personally, I'm open to that, but I'm not the big decision maker. So basically the idea here is maybe you've got the platforms of the future, the Metas, the app stores of the future, the Steams of the future. They all take a toll booth cut of your revenue. But in this case, you're basically saying those marketplaces kind of just act as a portal for users to be funneled through. They take their toll booth fee, and then those users, in the case of Illuvium, would just be interacting with our DeFi infrastructure after that. Personally, I'm open to that sort of business opportunity for Illuvium if it drives millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of new users into Illuvium's ecosystem. That sounds really good to me. Really quick, I want to ask Sandro and Godson, is that a scary prospect to you? Are you feeling like a purist here and you wouldn't want Zuck to or Bezos to dig their greedy hands into the pot here with Illuvium? Or would you be open to that in exchange for users coming in? Godson, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, like I mentioned in the beginning, like if they're not against us or if they're for us, I like the idea of adoption coming in through, these layer ones or these big tech companies. I just hope that the innovators inside crypto can pull those people away from these companies, because with the platforms we have right now with Twitter and YouTube and everything, they're great, but that's where the innovation comes in with crypto. And I feel like a lot of the innovators are in this crypto space. So it is scary. And I hope that, we could transition away from that, but it is kind of inevitable for them to come in, and they have a lot of marketing and they have, the weight behind what they're doing. Like you said on your tweet about Facebook getting all of this profit and adoption because of, them starting with the VR. I think they have the momentum to do that. I'm just hoping that they'll wise up and we'll just move away from decentralization.
Final word on this, Sandro. Would you be willing to give, let's say, the standard cut? If you were the galactic vice president of Illuvium and you could unilaterally make decisions, and it was possible to have Illuvium on every gaming Web 2 platform, but they took 30% of all proceeds before it comes in. That's the standard fee right now. That's not a savage fee. That's the standard fee, 30%. Meta's asking for 50, by the way. But let's say they backed it down to 30. Would you say yes to that deal? What's your if you were the galactic vice president of Illuvium, which doesn't exist?
At the moment, no, because I think the path Illuvium is going right now is perfect. It's just the timeline which sucks at the moment, to be honest. Like the token vesting and that the game isn't released yet. This is the only problem I see right now. And I love the idea from DAOs like Immutable X and Illuvium. I'm a big fan of DAOs, but at the moment, I think we don't have to worry about it, because was there one bad news about Metaverse and blockchain from a Web 2 company? We see Meta working with Polygon, and so does Sony, Disney. So every company who's working on their Metaverse got blockchain partnerships. So I think at the moment we are not enemies. And if it would be very good for the Illuvium ecosystem to cut the 30% from the revenue, I would do it, but I don't think that's the point right now. Because
okay, Sandro, if he were the galactic vice president, would say no to a toll booth taking 30% of Illuvium's proceeds. Not yet. Maybe in the future, who knows? He'll let you know when he runs for that position, which does not currently exist. Let's go into shout outs. Now, I have in the description on YouTube and on the podcast version links to all of these gentlemen and their YouTube channels in particular. Godson, where should people go to check out more of your genius thoughts, and why should they go there?
So you can check me out on Illuvinomics. I'm on YouTube. I am starting my Twitch channel, but primarily I'm on YouTube doing Illuvinomics. So I'm teaching, coaching there. I do the news of all the leaks that are coming out. So I just try to stay up to date with everything. So if you guys want to come over and follow me, that's Godson Illuvinomics or Godson ILV on Twitter.
Subscribe right now. If you're not, you are centralized scum. Scoriox, where can people find you, and why should they watch?
Scoriox on YouTube. I look at the token. I look at the tokenomics and things a lot. I actually released a video recently and called the ILV bottom. I didn't realize the token pump today, which was really funny. But
not financial advice.
I talk a lot about the tokenomics and things and try and break down all the numbers, how many people I think are going to be playing and all the rest of it. So if you're interested in that side of things, definitely go and check it out.
Awesome. Scorioxception right there. Sandro,
yeah.
Where can people find you, and why should they watch? I mean, you say my English is so terrible. I understood every English word you said today. You didn't slip into any other languages. So where can people find you if they want to follow you?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I only create German content. So if you understand German, you can follow me on Twitch and YouTube. But to be honest, I love to be on the show with you, Andrew. It feels like talking to normal people, because you can't have
We're the weirdos.
Yeah. But it feels so normal to talk about these things, and I love to be here, and let's keep it going.
Awesome. So everybody, you can check out the other episodes of IlluviTalks, and also that feature Sandro. Also, Sandro does do English interviews with Illuvium people like me and Kieran and what have you, and that his English content does exist there. And he's a great interviewer. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on this episode, and thank you all so much for watching. I told you at the beginning of the episode that I guaranteed you'd have at least 2 new technology insights from this episode. If you didn't learn 2 new things, you're lying. Seriously, you did. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next week on the next episode of IlluviTalks with even more unbelievably expert and centralized gaming-loving guests. See you then.